Have you ever wanted to tick off that bucket list item and drive up the Bid Red Sand Dune near Birdsville in Outback Queensland? Well, today I'm going to share with you our experience, give you a few hints and things to think about, and then show you a little of driving into the Simpson Desert over a couple of the other sand dunes. Did you want to know if it was hard to get up? How well do you need to know how to four-wheel drive? How high is the Bid Red Sand Dune? And how far away is it from Birdsville? These are all the questions I'm going to answer you today, so sit back and enjoy the video. Birdsville is located in Outback Queensland, very close to the South Australian and Northern Territory borders. It has a population of around 140 people but receives anything from 40,000 to 60,000 tourists each year. Some like to tick off a bucket list item in Australia and drive up the Bid Red Sand Dune, which is what I'm showing you today, but others might visit for the famous Birdsville races and the Bid Red Bash Music Festival. Birdsville is a great home base for all these activities, but there are limited supplies during busier times and you might need to bring a lot with you during the events. The Bid Red Sand Dune, or Bid Red for short, is 35 kilometres west of Birdsville. The roads in Birdsville are bitumen but will soon turn into a formed dirt and gravel track just outside, and you should lower your speed. There are also lots of animals around crossing the track at a moment's notice, especially at night, so drive to the conditions and stay safe. These are much the same conditions you get from driving into Birdsville, so you should be used to it by now. The Bid Red Sand Dune is only 40 metres high, but it is the first and the highest sand dune in a series of 1,100 sand dunes running parallel into the Simpson Desert or the Mungathiri National Park. These dunes have been wind-formed over the years and makes for an amazing sight from the air. 40 metres doesn't sound that high, to be honest, and you can walk up the dune. I did, and my heart was pumping. I ate about 20 flies in the process, but just mentioning it to give you some options. Which reminds me, depending on the season, a fly net is a must during the day. There are always 20,000 flies flying around us at the time, but this eased off in the evenings. Another option would be to take a tour, and there is a local guy in town that will do this for you to watch the nightly sunset. It's a great way to meet some people and learn about the local Birdsville life. So, how do you drive up? Well, you have the option to drive up Little Red or Bid Red. Little Red is obviously smaller and easier and didn't even require us lowering the tyre pressure. But this is also a good option if you're heading into the Simpson Desert along the QAA 4-wheel drive line into Northern Territory and Popple Corner. Driving up the Birdsville side of the Bid Red Sand Dune, we lowered our tyre pressure to 25 psi, used the low 4x4 and second gear. We got a run up first and then crawled up slowly for the rest of the way. The sand was very soft and we found a few holes and lumps from other vehicles getting stuck. During busier times, holes and bumps could be an issue with a lot of inexperienced drivers around. Do you need a sand dune flag? The short answer is no, not actually for the Bid Red Sand Dune. However, it is recommended to use one, especially if you intend to drive over Bid Red and further into Popple Corner. Also note, at busier times like the Bid Red Bash Music Festival, driving up the Bid Red Sand Dune is not allowed. Once at the top, you will notice a few driving paths down the other side. These paths are a little harder to get up, but there's no need to attempt them unless you want the challenge. Obviously, going down is really easy, so no problems using this to drive further into the Simpson Desert. Once you're up there, just park the car, explore your surroundings and enjoy yourself. It's a stunning spot to watch the sunset and great to bring some nibbles and a few drinks. Once the sun starts to go down, the flies are a little less annoying and start to phase out, so it's always a great time to bring out the snacks. There's a few large birds like falcons flying around off the sand dunes, I'm presuming on the hunt for small animals to eat. If you're the first people up there for a while, you will find beautifully formed sand ripples, and for the avid photographer, lovely textures in the sand for those photos. If you really want a challenge, drive down the other side and try making it back up again. Certainly fun for a few of the guys we ran into. As mentioned before, you can keep on driving into the Simpson Desert or Mungathiri National Park into Popple Corner. It's 144 kilometres to get to the Northern Territory border along the QAA 4-wheel drive line, but it will take a long time to complete. We ended up driving another 20 kilometres into the Mungathiri National Park, and that even took us about 2 hours. It was an adventure to see the slightly different terrain and changing environments. We went over about 10 to 15 different dunes, but that was enough for me for that day. I also love finding more and more wildflowers in the sand too. Not that I'm a huge person for flowers. Overall, being on top of Bid Red is an amazing experience and makes you feel like you're in a whole nother world. So thanks for joining me on today's video, and I hope you enjoyed the experience. Check out more things to do on Birdsville with this other video link here, and I will see you for the next one.